Good evening, everyone. Mr. Chug, my colleague, Mr. Sahai, all the dignitaries on the dais, excellencies, members of the industry, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first congratulate IMA, which is organizing the 14th edition of Elecrama 2020 in January from 18 to 22nd at Greater Noida Mart. It would be certainly a great opportunity to display the strength of the industry to the world. I think we all recognize that. We are also going to support, as Department of Commerce, going to support the event in whichever way it is possible. I handle engineering exports also, and that's the reason I'm here. I'm not here for any other roles that I do. But I was invited since in Department of Commerce, I've been given the responsibility of spearheading engineering exports. Electrical engineering is part of engineering overall. As far as the total engineering exports of India, as was mentioned earlier, the engineering is the biggest component of India's goods exports, product exports. It's about 25%, a quarter of India's total exports of $331 billion last year, which is 2018-19, was engineering products. In fact, the engineering exports achieved a record level of $81 billion last year. And I think we achieved a record the previous year also at 76 billion. And in 18-19 also, we achieved a record of 81 billion. So we have been doing well. But have we been doing enough? That's the issue. As far as electrical equipment is concerned, electrical products are concerned, as was mentioned, the exports measure about $7.5 billion. But again, as mentioned earlier, it's a fraction of what the world consumes or demands. With the electricity sector being a sunrise sector across the entire developing world, there is a significant potential for India to tap the export markets. I think we should try to move from 1% to a significant large number. Now, whether it would be 7.5 to 25 billion, or whether it can be more, is the issue. In fact, as Deloitte just made a presentation on the strategy paper that we have produced through EEPC, championed by EEPC. And the strategy paper, of course, it was not mentioned here, but basically we say that the export strategy has an aspirational target of $200 billion, engineering exports of $200 billion by 2025. And so from 81 billion, which is current year, which is the last year, to about 200 billion. So we have to more than double the engineering exports, and that's our that's our aspiration. And as a part of that, the electrical equipment, electrical engineering products, have to then double accordingly, more than in fact double. So 7.5 to 25 would be about less than 3 times. And perhaps that's a good way to proceed as far as electrical exports are concerned. But that will also probably be only a small step when we want to achieve a total exports of $1 trillion in our march towards economy of $5 trillion. So everything counts, and I feel that electrical equipment have to play a big role in enhancing our engineering exports around the world. As you're all, many of you would be aware, that electrical EPC contractors and power plant developers have established a very strong presence in several regions, particularly the Middle East, Africa, countries like the Kazakhstan, and some Latin American countries. Many equipment like meters, switchgear, transformers, cables, towers, power plant equipment are not only being exported to these countries, but also to Europe and other developed countries, which shows that we can match the quality demanded by the world and by the best global players. And that is where we need to showcase our strength and our capability. In fact, the top 10 destinations for electrical equipment are USA, UK, UAE, China, Germany, Bangladesh, France, Singapore, Vietnam, Saudi Arabia, which shows that the quality of electrical equipment uh, manufactured in India is well known around the world. From the export strategy, which we have prepared with Deloitte, what we have done as far as EEPC is concerned, EEPC is of course our Engineering Export Promotion Council. What we have done is we are going to drill down that entire strategy and turn it into detailed listing of the potential for each HS code and how to tap that. What is the potential of a particular HS code in a particular geography? And that is the matrix that we prepared, and we are disseminating it amongst our engineering exporters and the potential exporters. A large number of electrical industry tariff lines are included in this detailed process that we are conducting. As far as capital goods industry is concerned, that's another segment of the engineering that is getting considerable attention of the government. The capital goods sector is a critical element to boost manufacturing activity by providing critical inputs, that is machinery and equipment. The sector also provides direct employment to more than 1.4 million people, indirect employment to more than 7 million people, and impacts users of capital goods estimated to be 50 times that of direct employment. So that's the numbers that we're talking about. So a major initiative of the government is to create an overarching framework that encourages domestic production of capital goods and restricts unnecessary imports. Whatever is required, yes, we should definitely get, but what is unnecessary, maybe we should try to avoid. We are developing quality standards with stakeholder inputs in different segments of the capital goods industry. As far as the other framework for exports is concerned, we are already working on a foreign trade policy. As you're aware, the current foreign trade policy is valid till 2020. So we are going to come out with a new foreign trade policy. We're already working on that with the aim of facilitating the exports at a greater pace and to improve the ease of business as far as exporters are concerned. DGFT is already has collected some data and also is collecting more data from the Export Promotion Councils for the new refund of embedded taxes scheme, which has already been announced as far as the name is concerned. The details are being worked out. Similarly, the review of the EPCG scheme and other schemes like the SEZ are also, it's an ongoing process, and we are doing that. As far as the engineering exports are concerned, there are several challenges that we face. Some, of course, were mentioned by Deloitte in their presentation. And I think the key issues are how do we get raw material at competitive prices? I think that's a really key thing which every engineering manufacturer and exporter faces. The non-tariff barriers that or measures that our exporters face in different markets. There's a problem on inverted duty. There's always this problem which which doesn't seem to go away. We do try to do something, but there is always some problem which happens. And of course, the issue of relevant international certifying agencies in India. That's another aspect which we feel is a challenge as far as engineering exporters are concerned. The government is trying to address on all these fronts. We've had meetings with Ministry of Steel and EPC, of course, for whether we can provide steel at export parity price. And that was a mention was made in the strategy, but we are trying to see how to make it functional. We're working on that. We've had sectoral meetings as far as with all stakeholders for identifying the NTBs that you face, any problems, any non-tariff issues that you face in different markets, is what we would like to learn about. We have we've taken the inputs from industry, of course, different industry bodies. We've collated a list of NTBs that our exporters face across the world. But I think we feel that this is probably not the entire database that we're talking about. That's not the entire population of NTBs that we face. So my request, since many members of the industry are here, is that whenever you face an issue, please point it out to IEEMA, if you're a member of IEEMA or FIO or whichever a body that you're part of, or you can even send it directly to us. And we try to collate that, and what we do is we've been trying to take it up bilaterally with the respective countries whenever we have our interactions, and that's the only way forward. But we need information on that, and that is something that we have started working. We already collated a long list, and we've from the territorial angle, we are working bilaterally to resolve those issues. But we would like to get more inputs, and maybe sometime new things come up, and that's what the information that we need. Inverted duty, whenever we get information, when we get inputs, and then we examine that inverted duty issue, and then we try to resolve it as far as in consultation with the concerned line ministry or department. There's some issues which come up because of the FTAs. That's something that we always keep struggling with, but we try to do whatever is possible. As far as certifying bodies in India, we are actively looking at the gaps and how to have appropriate certifying agencies in India. In fact, agencies, one of the issues which has been pointed out by IEEMA, I'm sure many of you face that, is the CPRI recognition certification not being recognized everywhere. And that's again something that we are trying to work on. Another initiative that we've done, which is in the process, is the formulation of purchase preference for domestic firms, which will benefit all different segments of the industry. Steel, capital goods, electrical goods are some of the segments that will see considerable demand escalation as a result of the massive expansion of infrastructure in the next few years. And finally, our focus is also on improving the infrastructure, logistics, and the ease of doing business based on inputs from the industry and other stakeholders. In fact, you would probably know by now that a separate logistics division has now been set up within the Department of Commerce. And of course, there are different parts of logistics that you're aware about. And what we are trying to do is, how do we optimize all the elements of logistics for the benefit of the exporters? And that is what we are trying to do. So we have a separate division in Department of Commerce focusing on that. Friends, today the world is looking at India with keen interest, and everyone has high expectations. We have full confidence in Indian entrepreneurship and the abilities required for business. We, the government, will do everything possible to support you in all your efforts. Thank you and all the best.